The storm hit harder than the forecast ever warned us about, and in the middle of the chaotic night, rain slamming against the windshield, thunder shaking the earth like some angry giant, I found myself standing beside my boss, Ethan Miles, staring at the dimly lit lobby of a rundown mountain lodge. The power flickered, guests rushed in soaked and exhausted, and the front desk clerk kept repeating the same words that twisted the night into something none of us expected: only one room left. A sentence that might have sounded simple, harmless, even funny on any other day, yet in that moment, under the weight of my fear, pride, and the crumbling pieces of my private life, it felt like fate was pushing me toward a cliff edge. Ethan looked at me, water dripping from his hair, his clothes stuck to him like second skin, and with a half-tired, half-awkward smile said softly, "We're both adults, right?" Something inside me, humor, embarrassment, or maybe just exhaustion, made me whisper back, "I won't tell anyone." Before the story unfolds, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the unexpected ways life teaches us to heal, please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your support truly keeps this channel alive. I never planned to be stuck in the mountains with my boss. I never planned for any part of the messy year I'd been crawling through, honestly. After my marriage fell apart, after my mother passed unexpectedly, after losing half of the savings I'd been collecting for years, life had felt like an endless storm. So when Ethan asked me to accompany him on a simple 2-day work inspection trip for the company, I said yes because I needed the distraction, the routine, the distance. He didn't know my personal situation. I wasn't the type to overshare. At work, I was simply Claire Matthews, the administrative manager who always had her jackets ironed and her spreadsheets ready. Nothing more. Nothing less. But storms have a way of revealing what neat, orderly routines often hide. When the mountain roads closed behind us and the GPS kept insisting we had gone off-route, panic started crawling up my spine. Ethan was calm, or at least pretending to be. He kept assuring me we'd be fine, kept telling me he had driven through worse, kept glancing at me as if checking whether I was about to collapse or cry. I didn't want to do either, but the truth was that I was exhausted, physically, emotionally, spiritually. I hadn't slept well in months, and for the last week I'd forced myself through work with caffeine and willpower alone. By the time we reached the lodge, the storm was howling like something alive. The parking lot was half-flooded, and the air smelled of wet pine and cold earth. Inside, the lobby was warm but crowded, people dripping water everywhere, staff scrambling to find rooms that simply didn't exist. And that's when the clerk announced that only one room was available, with one bed. For a whole minute, I stood frozen. Ethan scratched the back of his neck, clearly uncomfortable. He was my boss, after all, not someone I shared personal space with beyond elevator rides and annual performance reviews. And yet somehow, when he joked gently about us both being adults, and when I replied that I wouldn't tell anyone, something inside me cracked, not in fear, but in surrender. I was tired of pretending I didn't need help or warmth or companionship of any kind. Tired of acting like life hadn't knocked me down repeatedly for months. Tired of being alone with my thoughts. The room was small, warm, and smelled faintly of pine-scented cleaner. The bed wasn't large, but it wasn't tiny either. Still, it felt intimate. Too intimate. I sat at the edge of it, avoiding Ethan's eyes, while he placed his soaked jacket over a chair and sighed heavily. He looked worried, not about the room, but about me. I could sense it in the silence, in the cautious way he moved, in the gentle tone he used when he asked if I was all right. I wanted to tell him I was fine, but the truth grew too heavy to lift. While the storm raged endlessly outside, I finally let go. Not in tears, not in dramatic confessions, but in the quiet way people unravel when they're too exhausted to hide behind their masks. I admitted I hadn't slept well because of stress. That I'd been struggling with some things. I didn't go into detail, not yet. I didn't have the courage. But Ethan didn't press. He simply nodded, sat a few feet away from me, and talked about things that didn't hurt. Life. Work. Random stories from his childhood I never imagined he'd share. He told them simply to distract me, to lighten the silence. And the more he talked, the more I realized just how lonely I had become. As the hours passed, the storm softened from violent rage into steady rain. We sat near the single window, wrapped in hotel blankets, listening to the muffled hum of thunder. I found myself studying the side of Ethan's face, the way his eyes softened when he smiled, the way he rubbed the bridge of his nose when thinking, the calm steadiness he carried like someone who had been forced to grow up too fast. And then he told me something personal. He confessed that after his father died 5 years ago, he had thrown himself into work until he no longer recognized himself. That work had become a shield, a lifeline, and a cage all at once. That loneliness can feel heavier in silence than in chaos. Something in that confession touched a part of me I had locked away. Without meaning to, I shared more about my marriage ending than I had told anyone at the office. Not the painful details, just the feeling of coming home to emptiness. The slow, quiet ache of starting over. And Ethan didn't judge. His expression didn't change. He simply listened. Somehow, that was enough. We fell asleep awkwardly but peacefully, back to back on the bed, wrapped in opposite corners of the blankets like two strangers trying not to disturb each other. Yet there was a strange comfort in knowing someone else existed just inches away. When the morning light finally crept through the curtains, soft and golden after a night of chaos, something in the air felt different. Not romantic. Not dramatic. Just calmer. Like the storm had passed outside and inside both. We checked out, drove down the mountain once the roads cleared, and returned to our ordinary world. But nothing felt quite as ordinary anymore. At work, Ethan didn't treat me differently, not in a way others would notice. Yet there was a softness in the way he greeted me now, a patience in the way he communicated, a quiet understanding in the moments our eyes met. And something inside me began to heal. Slowly, gently, like a wound stitched with warm light instead of thread. Weeks went by, and life didn't magically transform into perfection. I still had long nights. I still felt the ache of my past. But I also had something new, a small, steady sense of connection. And that connection helped me find courage again. I joined a local writing group. I reconnected with an old friend. I even visited my mother's favorite garden for the first time since she passed. Step by step, breath by breath, I came back to myself. And Ethan. He became a quiet anchor in my life, not through grand gestures, but through small moments of kindness. He started inviting me to lunch during stressful days. He asked how I was doing and actually waited for the real answer. He noticed things I didn't say out loud. And slowly, I began to trust life again. Not because of him alone, but because he reminded me that kindness still existed. That even in unexpected moments, even in one hotel room during a storm, human connection can change the course of a life. Little by little, I rebuilt myself. And one afternoon, months later, when Ethan stopped by my desk with 2 coffees and a shy, uncertain smile, I felt something warm bloom in my chest. Not love. Not yet. But hope. And hope was enough. Before we reach the ending, if this story touched your heart, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. It truly helps more people find these stories. Special request, please comment "Storms Pass" if you're still here and feeling the emotions of the journey. And in the end, looking back at that night, the rain, the fear, the awkwardness of sharing a room with my boss, I realized that life doesn't always give us perfect moments. Sometimes, it gives us storms. And sometimes, in the middle of those storms, it gives us one person who reminds us that we're still human, still capable of healing, still allowed to hope. And maybe, just maybe, that's enough to change everything.